Are you looking to make your teaching more inclusive and effective? In this webinar, Douglas Garba-Sabo, an award-winning lecturer from Kaduna State, Nigeria, explores essential digital resources and skills every teacher needs, from using slideshows and spreadsheets, leveraging online tools for lesson planning and feedback. You also discover practical strategies for gender inclusivity, like collaborative learning, gender-sensitive lesson planning, and using platforms like WhatsApp and Zoom to empower all learners. Watch now and learn how to transform your classroom with digital tools and inclusive practices.
So much, Steve. There was a little issue with your camera there, but I think it's stopped now.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No problem. Okay. It's a great pleasure today to introduce Douglas as our speaker for today. Douglas Sabo-Garba. He's a lecturer of media and information literacy at the Department of Language and Communication Education in Kaduna State College of Education, Gidanwaya, in Nigeria. He is a teacher educator. He's passionate about empowering teachers with digital skills for classroom activity development. He's from the Kaduna State of Nigeria, and he's been committed to helping Nigerian youths. This gave him this prestigious LEAP African Social Innovators Award, which is great. Congratulations. He was a student union leader in his school days, and he got the opportunity from that to understand the techniques needed to work closely with his learners. So over to you, Douglas, for the webinar.
Well, thank you, Linda. My name is Sabo Douglas. I see you've not had that before. Well, welcome everyone. At this moment, we will be looking at the objectives. At the end of this webinar, we'll be expecting every participant to be able to identify key digital resources / skills needed for an effective classroom activity. We hope that at the end of the webinar, our participants will also understand the step-by-step approach for online teaching preparation, as well as understand inclusive and collaborative learning. That's the basic concept, and identify subtle stereotypes found daily in our classrooms. And then finally, our participants should be able to identify gender bias, gender parity, and gender inequality practiced daily in our societies. Next slide, please. Well, let's look at this digital confidence exercise. Look at the list of actions below. What I expect you to do is to assign each a number from 1 to 3. You can see 1 to 3 there. They are supposed to be your response. And then here from A to E are the questions. Okay, let me take E for instance. I can create a Word document with text and images. So if you can create a Word document with text and images, I expect you to tell me in the comment in the chat box. That is A equals either 1, A equals either 2, or A equals 3. Those are the response I will expect to see. The second one says I can create effective slideshows and use them in my class. I'll also expect your response in the chat box. C, I'm not seeing these responses. Are we there?
Yeah, can you see the chat? It's actually
okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, Linda, I can see yours. Beautiful. Rebecca, yeah. Oh, beautiful answers. Okay. Beautiful answers there. Number 3, I can use spreadsheets to help me keep track of my students. If you can use spreadsheets to help you keep track of your students, I expect to see your answer. Yes. Okay. Samuel, oh, good answer there. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Number 4, D, we have I can use search engines to find interesting teaching materials. Can you use search engines to find interesting teaching materials? Can you use oh yes, Samuel, okay. Good answer there. You can do it confidently. Beautiful. Then we have E, I can use search engines to find technical support online when I need it. Can you use search engines to find technical support when you need any? Okay, Rebecca, yeah, beautiful answer there. Beautiful. Okay, let's make attempts of defining this. Can you define hardware, software, and browsers? Let me see what you have to say about them. Hardware, softwares, and browsers. What do you think is a software? What do you think is a hardware? What do you think is a software? Okay. Anybody? Okay. What do you think is a software? What do you think is a hardware? And what do you think is a browser? Okay. Oh yeah, hardware is actual computer and yes, very beautiful. Software is a program. Yes. Beautiful answer, Penina. Hardware are the physical parts of the yes, that's wonderful. Oh, beautiful. Akam, Edwin, Abba, yes, hardware are all the yes, beautiful. Well, thank you for answers. Next slide here. Okay, digital resources for online teaching. Here we hope to be looking at digital resources for online teaching. Here you can see we have the first one is the hardware, and this hardware, like we've answered earlier in our chat box, are the actual devices that we are using to actually connect even to this particular meeting. It could be your smartphones, it could be your laptop, it could be your desktop computers, and so on and so forth. Those are typical examples of hardwares. And the softwares, these are the applications that are installed into the hardware, which you are using in order to get to use these particular services. For instance, WhatsApp is a hardware, it's a software, sorry. Microsoft Office tools is a typical example of a software. We have the Zoom, which you use to get into this meeting at this moment, is also a software. And we have Google's Neat and so on and so forth. All those are softwares as the way of examples. Well, the last one here is browser and search engines. This refers to various platforms that can be used in order to find materials to be utilized for digital lesson delivery. For example, those are the places you are expected to go to when you are searching for materials that you can use for any form of classroom activity, be it digital or the normal typical classroom, online or offline. If I may ask, which do you have available? Which of all these, whether software, hardware changes, which of them do you have available? Do you have all of them? Is there anyone that you don't have? Oh, Bimbo, Adiwali, I have 3. Oh, beautiful. All 3 precious. Oh, okay. Peninat, good. Because as teachers, these are materials you use daily for your lesson planning and classroom activities. Next slide, please. Okay, here we'll be looking at key digital skills for teachers. The following are some of the key digital skills expected of you as a teacher. One, we have using word processors like your typical Microsoft Word environment, where you copy and paste information, where you type, where you arrange all documents. And then we have the second one, which is the slideshow. That's where you form your PowerPoint presentations. And for me, this is what I do if I have any presentation to be made. I will go to a normal word processing environment, type whatever it is that I want to type, give it a particular style that I want, arrange it in a particular format that I want, go to either a browser or search engines, get all the necessary materials I need. I arrange everything in the word processing environment. After that, I will now start importing it to the slideshows. That way, I find it very easy and convenient. I copy, I paste, I arrange it just as I want it to be arranged. And then the third one is using spreadsheets. Well, the spreadsheet is an interesting tool. A typical example is the one you have for Google, and then you have Excel, Microsoft Excel. Look, it's a very interesting tool to be used, especially when you have a list of your students typed out there. You can decide to create a column, for instance, where you have all their CAs, be it first CA. There will be a column for first CA, maybe second CA, and then a column for exams, and then you have a column for total, where you sum up everything. When you do an auto sum, you get to arrive at the final sum of all this data that you use to arrive at the score of every student using a typical spreadsheet. There are formulas you can use in the spreadsheet that you can arrive at percentages, you can arrive at average, you can arrive at even comments, whether good, poor, fail, and so on and so forth. It depends on how you actually arrange these formulas in your spreadsheet. Number 4, there we have the search. This refers to your search engines and your browsers. Those are places you go to get pictures, to get text, or whatever it is that you want to use for whatever purpose you want to use it for. But let me actually remind us to always make sure we attribute every material we get from the internet. Some are free and some are not. Always make sure you go to places that have free materials, and then always make sure you attribute them. And if you are to buy, please make sure you are getting it from the right sources. Well, today's teacher, these are the skills that typical teacher today should be able to possess. Today's teacher should be able to create, save, and share Word documents, slideshows, and spreadsheets for use in the classroom and beyond. Today's teacher should have a clear idea of how these digital tools can support the teacher and his learners in any situation. And today's teacher should be able to try this particular link you are seeing in order to learn about all these skills I mentioned in this particular slide. Thank you very much. Can I have the next slide? Well, here we'll be looking at these key terminologies. These are what I refer to as online verbs. These are some of the online verbs we have. If you take a look at these particular symbols very well, you will see that they present some key activities that you do with your digital devices or even while you are online. Okay, what I'll expect you to do right now is to use the chat box and tell me the names of these symbols. What do these symbols represent? I think there are 8 of them. You can tell me what you think they are. Linda, you said the final one is the rubbish for rubbish bin. Oh, yeah. Okay, nice response there. Thank you for that response. Any other one? I expect to see your replies in the chat box. What do you think these things are? Oh, second is cloud. Okay. Telegram icon. Okay. Are you sure? Okay. The paper airplane is to say, okay. Yes, to send. Okay. Nice response. Recycle. Oh, beautiful. Those are beautiful answers. Okay. Batteries. Penina, battery. Are you sure it's a battery? Oh, yeah. Okay. But there's something in that battery you're not seeing. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, here are the answers. You can see the first one at the top left-hand side is the paste. Whatever you copy from somewhere, when you paste, that's a symbol for pasting. And the second one after paste is download. You can see it there. That's you downloading anything you are downloading. And the next one, that's the finger touching on something, is to click. When you click on your mouse or when you are touching on a particular thing on your screen, that's the pointer, the clicker. That's to click. And then the next one is charge. Someone said battery. Well, it's a battery, but if it's a battery, you need to charge the battery, Well, let's go to the other line downstairs. We have the copy symbol. And then the one that looks like a printer is to print your document. And then, like someone said, the other one here is to send. And then lastly, the delete button. Remember, whenever you delete a document, it goes somewhere in that particular device. That's the trash can or the recycle bin. That particular provision is made for you to either hide your particular stuffs there, or maybe later on you expunge it completely. So whatever it is that you delete, if you're not able to go down there and remove it completely, that means it's actually hidden somewhere in your computer or your device. Next slide, please. Okay, we'll be looking. We'll be diving into inclusive learning, and the aspect of inclusive learning that we are diving into are gender equality, gender bias, and gender parity. Number one is gender equality. This means treating boys and girls equally. By so doing, for me as a person, I achieve gender equality by making sure that I treat the boys and girls in my class equally. That is, whatever it is that is a task that I give to a boy is the same task that I will give to a girl. There's no discrimination of any type. There's nothing like, okay, this task is for the boys and this task is for the girls. That's what I do. Secondly, we have gender bias. This means having different expectations for boys and different expectations for girls. Mostly you find classes or societies where it is believed that the boys are expected to behave like this and the girls are expected to behave like this. The boys are expected to be allowed to do so and so tasks, and then the girls are not allowed to do those tasks. Even in classrooms, we find people who treat boys different from the way they treat girls. They give different tasks to girls and different tasks to girls. That's a typical example of gender bias. Now, number three, we have gender parity. This has to do with making sure that everybody is equally paired accordingly, making sure that there are equal number of boys and girls for every activity, every classroom activity you have. For instance, if you are pairing your class members into groups to do a particular task or an assignment, make sure you pair them equally. If there is one boy in that particular pair, that boy should not be paired with another boy. There should be a girl paired to that particular boy. By so doing, you will achieve gender parity. If there are three girls, don't put one boy. Make sure there are three girls, three boys also, three boys, three girls in that particular group. That's in case of smaller groups. If there are two boys, there should be two girls. If there are four boys, there should be four girls. By so doing, you can actually achieve gender parity in your class. And the purpose for this gender parity is to make sure that all gender biases are actually thrown to the dustbin. Okay, I'll expect you to answer these questions in the chat box. A, is there gender parity in schools and classroom in your context or in your country? Do you have gender parity in your schools or in your context or in your country? You have them. May I have your answers, please? Number two, do you think teachers treat boys and girls equally? Do you think teachers do treat boys and girls equally? Do you think teachers do treat boys and girls equally? And then C there, we have, do you think families or schools have different expectations for boys and girls? Do you think families or schools or even teachers have different expectations for boys and girls? Okay. Dr. Grace, nice to see your answers there. Dr. Grace Biat Caleb, nice to see your beautiful answers there. Thank you for coming. Okay. And then the B, are there differences in expectations for digital literacies? Do you think boys do better when it comes to digital literacy than girls? Or do you think girls do better than boys when it comes to digital literacy? Are boys more exposed to digital devices? Okay. Or do you think girls are more exposed to digital devices than boys? Okay, Doris, I can see your answers. Yashim, okay. Good, Yasmin, okay. Okay, thank you very much for these beautiful answers. Let's go to the next slide. I can clearly see that we are actually understanding these points, and we have some of these problems present in our countries, in our individual countries, and our classes too. Well, here we will be looking at key strategies for gender inclusion in the classroom. Key strategies for gender inclusion in the classroom. And some of these strategies are gender-sensitive strategies. And here I picked up these three so that we can actually use them for examples and deliver this particular webinar. I think you should be able to make sure you call on all learners equally to answer your questions and contribute to the class. For instance, for me, whenever I am having a class, I make sure that if I ask a boy a question and he actually attempts to give me an answer, the next question I will ask, I'll actually pick up a girl to actually make an attempt of answering that question. By so doing, they will actually feel equally carried along and it boosts their confidence level. And number two, I try as much as I can to praise them, to praise my students whenever they give these answers, especially when they make a tremendous effort to actually give me these answers. Some of them I praise them. Some of them I encourage them. Some of them I even put a little gift for anybody that make a good attempt in answering the questions. By so doing, it brings about collaboration, cooperation, and good behavior amongst the students. And then lastly, I call out gender stereotypes at any point in time I see any. If I see anybody trying to bully the other person because he thinks that person is the lesser gender, I call it out immediately. By so doing, they get conscious of this particular gender stereotypes and they try as much as they can to actually do away with them. Can you think of any other useful tips? Please, may I see whatever tips you can think of in the chat box? Even as you are giving me these tips in the chat box, let me use this particular sketch to give you a typical example, especially where there are like 6 boys. You can see there are 3 by the left hand side, there are 3 by the right hand side. The ones by the left hand side is tagged equality, and the ones by the left hand side is tagged equity. What is expected of you as teachers is to look at this particular key concept, equality and then equity. Equality will simply means you giving them all equal opportunities, which is actually very, very good. But even as we're giving them these opportunities, we have to create avenues where equity can actually come in. For instance, equity will simply means you trying as much as I can to see that the ones that are a bit backward are actually making efforts to, or they try to catch up with the ones that are the brightest of the class. If you give equality in class, you find out that the ones that are the brightest are actually getting brighter than any other person. But if you put equity at heart, you will find out that you are even making the one that are a bit less strong to learn from the ones that are very, very strong. Thank you for these answers. Rotating roles and responsibility. Beautiful. That's a wonderful answer. Teamwork. Yes, I think I like that answer. Khadija, I can see your answer. That's beautiful. Now, when you put this together, you see that they are actually carried along. They work together. They understand each other, and so on and so forth. Beautiful answers there. Next slide, please. Okay, now these are my own strategies for gender inclusivity in digital learning. At every point in time I come across my students, these are the strategies that I use. First of all, I use video conferencing on Zoom, Google Meet, and so on and so forth to actually achieve this inclusivity in digital learning. I also use WhatsApp. I use lesson planning. When planning my lesson, I make sure I use tools that will actually juxtapose gender inclusivity in digital learning. I also keep learners motivated. I try as much as I can to keep learners motivated. And I track learners' progress. I track their progress at one point or the other to ensure gender inclusivity in digital learning. And I also try to assess them. I assess them using various techniques, which I will talk about in the next slide. I also give feedback. I take feedbacks and I give them feedbacks also. By so doing, I achieve inclusivity in digital learning. If I may ask, how could you use any of this? How could you use any of this? Can you actually look at this and tell me how you think you can use any of this? A lesson plan will help include sections that will include each learn. Oh, beautiful answer there, Akam. Oh, beautiful answers. Yes, I think I like those answers. Next slide, please. Okay, now I mentioned video conferencing. I organize extra classes on Zoom, mix them manually in tasks in breakout room to stress the gender inclusivity and broaden their perspective. Whenever we are in these classes, I mix them manually, possibly, let's say, through breakout rooms. When I create these breakout rooms, instead of saying those whose surname starts from A to D, you are in group 1. Those whose surname starts from E to so you are in group 2, and those who starts from so to Z, you are in group 3. I find out that whenever I use those particular methods, they are counterproductive as far as gender inclusivity is concerned. So what I do mostly is I mix them manually. I make sure that in each little breakout room, the number of boys are the same as the number of girls. That's what I use in my video conferencing sessions. Number 2, we have using WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp by creating class groups where students can share resources and ask questions to ensure inclusivity, balance, and number of female students will represent the same as that of the males. So in this particular WhatsApp sessions, I make sure that I share resources and I ask them questions to ensure inclusivity. I remember when I'm asking them those questions, I ask deliberate questions and I tag whoever it is that I want that person to answer. And I make sure that I ask girls and I also ask boys in that particular WhatsApp lessons. And the third one, is lesson planning. Here I incorporate universal design for learning UDL principles, providing multiple means of engagement, representation, and expression, e.g., images and videos featuring diverse individuals, including both males and females. Now, let me step it down to our level of preparing lesson plan. For whatever item you're going to use in your lesson plan, be it a picture or teaching aid, let it represent both male and female and every other gender that is found in that particular classroom. If you are using only teaching aids that actually represent only a particular gender, you'll find out that the other people will actually feel left out. So you're supposed to use mostly teaching aids that will represent everybody that you have in that particular class. Number 4, different tasks. I use different task types and choices like written assignments, presentations, or group projects to cater to different learning styles and abilities. This approach encourages students to work collaboratively and appreciate diverse perspectives to promote inclusivity. I use different kind of tactics, different kind of presentation. In some instances, group projects to cater for different learning styles, and I see different abilities when they present. Next slide, please. The next one is keeping learners motivated. Well, I keep learners motivated through gamification. I also offer reward and recognition for achievements. When they do good, I offer them reward. I encourage them to set goals and track progress. I track their progress. They also track their progress themselves. I also invite successful women in various fields to share their experiences. That will inspire the girl child to pursue their interests. For instance, in Nigeria, we have the likes of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, that woman with this kind of head tie. The head tie alone has a lot of volume to tell you that this woman is an accomplished woman. So they are type, and then we have some female medical doctors, we have some female business people in Nigeria that I always use them as examples. Where I cannot get them to come to class, I ensure that I use their pictures and their achievements to actually encourage the girl child. Because in northern Nigeria, the girl child at some point is most likely left behind. So this has actually helped me to actually encourage my student to see that any other achievement that you think a boy child can achieve, the girl child can actually achieve such. there are countries in Africa today, or a country in Africa today, where a woman is the president. So you can be the president, you can be the governor, you can be a minister, you can be a captain of industry, irrespective of your gender. The next one is tracking learners' progress. I use digital tools like Google Forms to collect data on their preferences, to monitor students' progress and identify areas they need support. This helped me to tailor my teaching to meet their individual needs. You need to see these people as individuals with different background, with different training, with different home training. So what is expected of us as teachers is to try and get this data from them of their preferences. What do they want to achieve? What do they want to become? What do they want to do in future? Like that. Now, even during lesson delivery, where are they finding it difficult? What do they think, if done in class, it will improve their level of understanding, and so on and so forth. So these are tools I have used, and they have actually proved to be very, very productive. Next slide, please. Well, finally, okay, sorry. Here I try to assess learners through a range of assessment methods, including physical grouping, peer assessment, and self-assessment to ensure inclusivity. In order to ascertain whether I have actually made impact or not, I try to assess them using different assessment methods. Some assessments are peer assessments, some assessments are self-assessment, some assessment I assess them, and sometimes I can make a girl to assess a boy and a boy to assess a girl to actually ascertain whether learning has taken place or learning has not taken place. Let me give you an example. Have you ever thought of this? Whenever there's no teacher in class, maybe teachers are in the class in the staff room, and then you leave the students in the class all alone. Have you ever tiptoed to go close to the window to see the kind of interaction they have, the kind of communication they have, and so on and so forth? You can imagine if those kind of communication are being carried out along what you are teaching them. You can imagine the level of impact that you will be able to make. And then finally, giving feedback. I try feedback through indirect constructive feedback mechanism through WhatsApp, and personal feedback through direct WhatsApp messaging and email. I give them opportunity to give me feedbacks through emails and WhatsApp. This encourages them to reflect on their work and set goals for improvement. I also involve peers in the feedback process, promoting collaborative learning. Next slide, please. Well, here we will be looking at these key concepts: inclusion, diversity, and differentiation. Well, let's start from diversity. Diversity simply means making sure that different groups in the population are represented in the learning material. Remember, I mentioned earlier, whatever you do, you must make sure that your learning material is representing every group of people in your class. By so doing, you understand that there are diverse groups in your class, and it will encourage them to actually feel they belong to that setting, and it will boost their confidence level. Number 2, differentiation. Differentiation has to do with making sure that learners with different levels of skills can take part in classroom activities. In some classrooms, you'll see that the teacher is making emphasis and paying more attention to the brighter students, therefore ignoring the ones that are not so bright. Now you must understand differentiation. When you understand differentiation, you will understand that they are just different in some particular form. Somebody can be low when it comes to English, and then that person can be very, very good when it comes to mathematics or calculations. So you must strike a balance. You must try as much as you can to bring about equity, making sure that learners with different levels of skills are actually carried along in your lesson delivery. Then the last one is inclusion. This has to do with making sure that education is accessible to all learners, whatever their circumstances. Whatever their circumstances. Remember that in your class, you have orphans, you have people who are rich, whose parents are rich, you have people whose parents are poor. Whatever their circumstances, you are supposed to include everybody, create the level of inclusion for everybody to actually feel they belong to your class, and you must be able to adopt strategies and key inclusion strategy that will actually carry them along. So if I may ask, which of the three offers the biggest challenge in your classroom? I need those answers in the chat box. Which of the three offers the biggest challenge in your classroom? And why do you think so? Why do you think so? Why do you think that particular one offer a great challenge? Okay, someone said diversity. Okay, why do you say diversity? Oh, yes. Yes, diversity. You know, we are from Africa, and our communities are of different tribes, different religions, and so on and so forth, different orientations, and so on and so forth. So I think I understand when you mention diversity. Even with that diversity, I think we must make deliberate attempts to actually bring about inclusion. Thank you very much for those answers. Next slide, please. What one key to ensuring gender inclusivity in digital literacy? There are several keys, but this key is a key that I find interesting, and it is collaborative learning. This key is a very interesting key as far as gender inclusivity in digital literacy is concerned. So what is collaborative learning? What do you think is collaborative learning? Well, collaborative learning happens when you get your learners to work together in pairs and small groups, either in the classroom or for homework. When they collaborate, like I said, you tiptoe and you hear them in the class without a teacher interacting very, very well. Imagine that level of collaboration when they are making noise in class. Imagine them putting the same level of collaboration when they are actually working on a particular class project. It will be wonderful. It will actually bring about results. And there are a lot of advantages to collaborative learning, but I picked up these few to actually buttress this point. So learners can practice their skills without additional teacher time. Through collaborative learning, yes, learners can practice their skills without additional teacher time. They can learn on their own. Learners can use tools they are already familiar with. Yes, learners can use different tools they are familiar with to actually buttress their points, actually learn. For instance, they can use WhatsApp. Well, secondly, learners can be more motivated when working with classmates. Yes, when you give them work to do together, you will find out that when they are together, they are very, very expressive. Even those ones that don't used to speak in class, whenever you give them that kind of opportunity, you see that they talk to each other, they interact, they express themselves to their classmates. Well, thirdly, we have learners with different strengths can help each other. Yes, learners with different strengths can actually help the ones with not so good strengths. They can actually help each other. They can learn from each other. And lastly, learners can review and work can review the work of their peers or partners. Yes, they can review their work. They can review each other's work to see if they are doing well or they are not doing well. Boys can review the work of girls, and girls can review the work of boys. And then we can do a little debate. We can do a little bit of classroom interactions. We can do a little bit of this and that in order to drive home these points. Thank you very much. Let's see the next slide. Well, I expect us to actually look at this, your screen right now. Try this before our discussions on Friday in the Telegram group. 1, we have gender-sensitive strategies. 2, collaborative learning. And then 3, I expect you to look at this Teaching English report to get more about gender and the teaching of English and digital literacy. This link, I expect you to actually store it somewhere, do a little more research on it before our discussion in the Telegram group on Friday. Next slide, please. Well, thank you very much for having me. Any question?
Thank you so much, Douglas. That was so interesting. And we had so much interaction in the chat. I'm sure you saw there are so many things, so many people giving great ideas, answering your questions, for example, which is excellent. And loads of great ideas. As somebody put that they bring women into class on International Women's Day, for example. Brilliant idea.
Yeah.
But don't just restrict it to International Women's Day. Do it every day, a lot more than one day a year. Loads of brilliant ideas and lots of questions. So I've got all these questions here now that I'm going to ask. The first one came from the Telegram group where they're relaying the webinar as it goes. And it's, if our school has limited technology or internet access, how would we design a digitally supported lesson for this context? So that's one of the challenges. What do you think?
Okay, I believe at this moment there's a particular group of teachers and lecturers in Abuja. They are about 150 and they are watching this webinar in a particular hall provided by British Council. Congratulations to you guys. That is a particular way that we can actually achieve this. If we have donors or well-meaning people in the society that can actually provide these little schools with maybe little electricity box, little digital literacy devices, maybe a laptop, a microphone, and so on. You can only imagine the impact it can make. We also as individuals must make sacrifices. Teachers must make sacrifices. For instance, now if you are in a class, you can decide to just put your phone on a loudspeaker for your students or other teachers to learn. There are barriers everywhere. We cannot continue to close our eyes and assume that these barriers exist to stop us, and then we agree that they should stop us. We must break these barriers and make sure that we actually penetrate and learn. One person with a digital device can actually benefit 50 people, if not 100, as the case may be. Thank you very much. I hope I'm
right. Great. Okay, yeah, exactly. So it's little things, isn't it? Using our phones, maybe giving them things from home. This is the 21st century, isn't it? So there is more tech around, and maybe their uncle has a phone that they could use, and it's helping with that. So great. Okay, so we've got a few questions here about inequality. One from Rivers State, they say they have a lot more boys than girls in class. So what do you do then with the groups? Do you have maybe one token girl? And then someone from Senegal says they have a lot more girls than boys. So when you don't have the balance, how do you go about creating the groups?
Okay, back then we hear stories from our parents whereby there are stories of people in a family, only one person is being sent to school, all the rest are sent to the farms. And then 20, 30 years down the line, that person who actually went to school has turned out to be the best in that family, or the most, I don't know how to put it, the most successful person, yes, in that society, because he's educated than others. So these are clear-cut examples we can give. In northern Nigeria, for instance, the girl child in some remote communities is left behind. They are only prepared for marriage, childbirth, and so on. We must do well to encourage and give practical examples of successful women. Let the successful women remember where they are coming from. Let's encourage them to go back home, give their contributions, encourage parents to send the girl child to school. The same goes for the boys. Look,
yeah, that's great. But what about when you have a class and it's actually unbalanced? If you have a lot more boys than girls in the class, okay, lots of encouragement, but you've got to deal with the class as it is. If there's a lot more boys, maybe 80% boys, or the other way, 80% girls, how do you divide the groups? Now, do you just have one token girl or one token boy?
No. You've got to devise a means of dividing them, maybe by way of percentages. If, for instance, you have six students in your class, six, and if there are four boys and two girls, for instance, then one girl should go to this group, another girl should go to this particular group. By so doing,
I'm just thinking that I bet that lots of girls, especially past puberty, girls become quieter, don't they? And if there's one girl in a group of boys, now how will they be motivated to speak? There was another question. How can I motivate underrepresented women to participate? That was in online discussions, but the same works for class, doesn't it? If there's only one girl with 5 boys, they might be overwhelmed by that and become even quieter. What's your take on that?
My take is make the girl the group lead. When you make the girl to lead the group, they must actually listen to her. She will have to lead because result will have to be targeted at the tail end. So if they make any form of mistake by not listening to the girl speak, there will not be result and there will be consequences. So the girl can lead the group in order to achieve that. Thank you. That's my
If they can, great. Have you ever had any girls who are too shy to lead boys, or boys that don't want to follow the advice of girls?
Well, yes, I have, but there's this concept of motivation. Sometimes you see what happens in the classroom mostly is designed outside the classroom. You can call these students one after the other, encourage them, motivate them. Now, when you motivate them, when they come to class, they do better. That's more of personal mentorship, more of personal motivation before you go to class. My thought exactly.
Okay, yeah, it's quite complex, isn't it? And then there's the idea of cultural norms. I know you touched on this. Interesting question here. If cultural norms discourage girls from using technology freely, what practical steps can we take to empower girls without clashing with community values? What do you think about that? Interesting question.
Well, I think for me, you must, for every community, there should be a gateway. The community leaders should actually be engaged. When you engage the community leaders in some of these discussions, it will actually trickle down to the community and the family level. And when you have the community leaders buying into this concept, I sure agree that family will actually understand. Family will begin to learn. Give them examples of communities that girls are doing this because they were exposed to this. Girls are succeeding. The female child is succeeding. The female child is becoming successful in communities. When they see that, it will encourage them, as well as the community leaders, to actually understand ways through which they can actually open a window and allow the girl child to actually prosper or soar high.
This is a great long-term strategy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what about when students misuse their phones? And there was a general question about how can you stop students from misusing phones in class? But I'm thinking particularly of girls, and often parents are worried, even in the UK, parents are very worried about girls having phones because there is so much abuse online. And surely we need to protect students from this, especially girls, maybe. What do you think?
Well, you see, for everything you do, even TVs you have at home, there should be a level of control. These girls or boys should be able to use these devices with a level of control from the parents. You give birth to these kids, you want them to do better in life. You're supposed to motivate and then control where they go, what they do. On the internet, you can actually put a little eye on what they do. You can put a timetable for when they are to use the phone and when they are not to use it, because the phone is not the beginning and the end of their life. There is more to do in life than just holding digital devices. You can use digital devices perfectly, effectively within a specific period of time and have time to do other things under strict and better supervision.
True. Yeah. And I think we need to involve the parents here as well, don't we? Because parents are the ones who control them at home. And it's about, times of using phones, respect for this, because there is so much danger. We really need to protect them and make people aware of the sort of dangers of using phones. Yeah. Opposite question now. How can over-reliance on digital tools unintentionally reinforce the gender gaps in participation or achievement? So how can it unintentionally reinforce this gender gap? What do you think?
Well, for me, I will always give examples in northern Nigeria where I am, where I come from. Look, you find out that these girls who can hardly speak in class, but when you are engaging them through a digital device, they are communicating, they are interacting, they have Facebook accounts, they make posts. So if you are not able to access them or understand them physically, you understand them through the kind of content they put out there. So
that's great about understanding girls, but the question was about how can over-reliance on digital tools unintentionally reinforce that gender gap in the classroom, in achievement, for example, because sometimes we think we're doing equally, but maybe we need some positive discrimination, maybe, to help girls in different ways rather than treating them the same. What do you think?
Yeah, digital devices are actually the in thing right now. So you can use them, you can actually rely on them to actually design programs, to design content that will actually help us to bridge these gender gaps. Like I stated in some of the examples, like when designing a lesson plan, if there are tools that you are supposed to use as examples or teaching aid, make sure that those tools are actually representing both boys and girls to do away with gender stereotypes.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And what about schools where smartphones, this is a question from Telegram again, schools where smartphones are not allowed at all in the school? What can you do?
Well, if smartphones are not allowed at all in schools, especially in Nigeria, smartphones are not allowed in most of our schools. So, but then they use these smartphones at home.
Okay.
And
you can set the time.
They use their smartphones at home.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering, what will this discussion be in 10 years' time? I'm wondering if it will change, if girls and boys will be more equal with their digital tools and digital knowledge. I wonder. So thank you so much for all those questions, everybody, from the Telegram group and in the Zoom. We haven't answered them all, I'm aware, but of course you have the Friday discussion in Telegram to answer more questions. And please look forward to that, everybody, and meeting Douglas again there. So over to Steve now to finish.